So I really care deeply about Yale Medical School. I was fortunate enough to benefit from being able to come here myself, and I was what some people have called an atypical student. I think Yale took a chance on me. At the time I came here, I was just under 40 years old and had graduated from college actually with an English degree and taught junior high school English right out of college, helping put my husband through medical school actually. But I always fantasized about wanting to be a doctor. Just thought there were a million reasons why I couldn't. And one day I was having lunch with someone who said to me, "What would you do if you could do anything?" And I said, "I'd be a doctor." And she said, "Why don't you?" And I said, "I can't." And she said, "Why not?" And I said, "Well, I'm too old, it costs too much money, I've got kids, and I've never taken a science course in my life." And she said, "You haven't said one reason why you can't. There's only one reason why you can't, and that's if you can't, and you don't know because you didn't try." And I thought about that weekend. Actually, I went home and I said to my husband, "I want to go to medical school." And he said, "I've always known you wanted to do it. You absolutely should do it. I think it's a great idea." And I actually spent the weekend crying, thinking, is this possible, this fantasy of mine? That Monday, I called up the dean of admissions here at Yale, and I went to see him, and I said, "Am I too old?" And he said, he never asked me my age. He just said, "We can't discriminate based on age, but you need a full year of biology plus lab, and a full year of chemistry plus lab, and a full year of physics plus lab, and a full year of organic plus lab." And he told me about the special students program at Yale University. And I actually started that summer in 1983 at the age of 36, taking science courses for the first time. And that's why I say I think that Yale took a chance on me. They admitted me from the waiting list, so those of us who get in off the waiting list can do just as well as anyone else. And I went to medical school here, feeling every minute of every day that I was blessed. And I think for anyone, it's a great place to go to school. But I think for people who see themselves as a little bit different, that it's the best place to go to school because we so value diversity, but we value people finding their dream. We value people finding the right road for themselves, becoming the leader in the area that pleases them. It's not about us telling people what they have to do or what they need to do, but really about them finding that place. And that's why I feel that in this position I am so fortunate, because I get to give back. I get to help students find their dreams. I get to help them find the area of medicine that's right for them. I get to help guide them. I help to let them find their success. And that's really an incredible privilege. So I think training here, now working in this position, I have a deep appreciation for the support and for the flexibility that Yale Medical School gives. A couple of years ago, about 3 years ago now, we graduated our first grandmother. She was a woman who came here from Pennsylvania. She was a minority woman. She had always kind of fantasized about wanting to be a doctor, but didn't feel that she could give voice to it, that no one would understand. She was 16. She got pregnant, and she ended up getting married and going on to have 5 children. But during that time, continuing to want to be a doctor, but not feeling that she could actually do it because of her other responsibilities. So she became a nurse, and she was a very successful nurse, but she realized that didn't do it for her. She really wanted to be a doctor. So she went back and she got her bachelor's degree. She ended up graduating summa cum laude, and she studied for her MCATs, and she did well, and she came here as a medical student. When she started, she had 5 children and 1 grandchild, And when she left, she had a couple of grandchildren, and she ended up doing residency. Currently, she's doing residency right now in anesthesiology at Harvard. She was a very successful woman. So I think that Yale is open to people who show that they are committed, that they can do the work, that they can rise to the occasion, and not at any, and it can be at any time in their life. Maybe not when they're 80, I don't know, we haven't had an 80-year-old applicant, but certainly during these productive years of adulthood, when people really can make informed decisions about how they want to spend their life. So people think that the students here are the most accomplished, and of course they are. They're brilliant, and they have done amazing things with their lives already. But medical school is a time that presents a number of challenges that are not just academic, but also personal. And our students have been through all of them. We've had students who have had parents die. We've had students who have had to struggle with their own illness. We've had students go through depression, and we've had students have important relationships that break up, and all of these things impose stressors. We've had students who grew up homeless and have a tremendous obligation and sense of responsibility to the rest of their family members who are still struggling. So we believe in providing the safety net, the support, the help that these students need to get them from where they start to where they want to be. And that's really, it gives me great pleasure to be in a position to be able to do that. So one of the amazingly special things about Yale is the community that we have here, where we're lucky. It's a small school, and everybody really is invested in looking out for one another. One story is I had a student one time who one of the women who works in the cafeteria downstairs was worried about. Every day she would see this student pass through, and every day she saw that the student only had lettuce on her plate, and she felt the student was getting too thin. And so she actually called me. She called me and said, "I'm worried about this student." And it was an opportunity for me to then call in the student and say, "You know what, somebody's observed this, somebody's seen this, are you okay?" But that's really the way this place is. People here look out for one another, and the students look out for each other as well. That's the beauty of not having class ranks or testing in the first couple of years. There's no sense of, I've got to be better than that person. The sense is, I care about these people. These are my classmates, and so it's really very wonderful, and students do call and say, "I'm worried about somebody." So one of the ways that we're incredibly fortunate that we have great flexibility is with our fifth year. Over 50% of our students take a fifth year. It's a tuition-free year, and many of our students use it to do research because we have a thesis requirement, and so a good number of them will do a fully funded year of research, but that's not required. They can use it in any way that they want that's helpful to their medical education, and we're pretty open about the way we define that. We allow a broad definition so that for 2 students, they use part of their fifth year to actually go to culinary school. And what one might think, well, what's the relationship between that and medical school? But those 2 students subsequently wrote a nutrition curriculum for us and have brought in the administrators from the culinary school to confer with us about novel ways to teach nutrition to medical students that I don't think any other medical school is doing.